Well, France has launched a blindside at Australia today over our involvement in a UN treaty to ban nuclear weapons. We and most Western countries are signatories to the United Nations Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. When it was ratified in the 60s, its main aim was to stop the further spread of nuclear weapons with an ultimate goal of disarmament. And it's certainly a noble goal, but it's not a practical one. So along came the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons in 2017, and as the name suggests, its aim is to end nuclear weapons entirely. But many of the countries that have nuclear weapons happen to be our biggest allies, and the others are our potential enemies, including Russia, which of course we are currently formally opposing in the Ukraine war. There's France, the US, the UK, China, Russia, India, Pakistan and North Korea. Israel is also understood to have nuclear weapons, though it's never officially acknowledged that. A senior French diplomat told The Australian today that sending an observer to a meeting of parties to the Prohibition Treaty in New York next month was a quote-unquote contradiction in Australia's foreign policy. The diplomat said, quote, "Observers to the TPNU de facto commit themselves to support the promotion of this treaty as they are requested to financially support it. From our viewpoint, there is a contradiction between such a move and the support to the primacy of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which offers the only credible and responsible path to nuclear disarmament. It's also contradictory with Australia's ambition to reinforce its partnership with NATO, which is and remains a nuclear alliance and whose credible nuclear deterrence and defence posture are key in the context of Russia's war of aggression." It's a pretty blunt statement. And of course, we're already on a bit of shaky ground with France over dumping their submarines in favour of nuclear ones, funnily enough, under the AUKUS agreement. But the US has also warned against us supporting the treaty because it could hurt our defence arrangements with our allies. Why would we want to do that? I don't know, it's a bit of a mystery. But Labor's support, and particularly Anthony Albanese's support for the nuclear weapons ban, has been long running. The international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons trumpets him as a champion of the treaty. The Prime Minister, then the opposition spokesman for transport and infrastructure, moved a motion for the ALP to back the treaty at the party's national conference in 2018.
I don't argue that this is easy. I don't argue that it's simple. But I do argue that it's just. I do argue that it's consistent with what the Labor Party is about. I believe that unless we do move down towards the path of disarmament, then we know the concern that the global community, including us right here, felt when North Korea was so close to being in a position whereby someone erratic would have their finger on a button. That's why we need to be a part of the global community. This resolution is Labor at our best. It enables us to participate in the debate in a constructive way and move it forward.
It's funny that he mentioned North Korea in that situation because we know that they have nuclear weapons, estimated to be about 30 or 40. But this treaty is exactly the kind of thing that would make their nuclear weapons more valuable. Australia doesn't have nuclear weapons, but all of our Western and European nations, our allies, say that they signed up to this prohibition treaty. The US would have to give up their weapons, the UK, France, get rid of them. Who knows whether Russia or China would agree to those terms? Somehow I highly doubt it. But you know what country would definitely not sign up and give up its nuclear weapons? North Korea. Do we really want to live in a world where China, Russia and North Korea are the only countries in possession of nuclear weapons? The West maintaining a stock of nuclear weapons is a deterrence measure more than anything else. It tells other countries with nuclear arms not to mess with us. And Australia is a beneficiary of that. We're in the Asia Pacific, and we know that China is gaining ground in the Pacific. Why would we sign up to a treaty that could potentially leave our biggest potential geopolitical threat armed and our allies disarmed? Foreign Minister Penny Wong said, quote, "The government will consider the TPNW systematically and methodically as part of our ambitious agenda to advance nuclear non-proliferation and disarmament," but that it had not yet decided whether to ratify it. But Albanese's motion of support from 2018 still stands and is still in the ALP's national platform. We're already party to a nuclear treaty that has worked perfectly well for about 5 decades. There's no sensible reason to persist, and many reasons not to persist, with the fanciful idea of a flat-out ban on nuclear weapons.